Huge update from last week. As you all know, because you all follow me, actually you don't, but I fell on the ice from that video I just showed you. And ow. What I announced back then was that I broke a rib, because that's what the nurse practitioner said when she came in the door. Well, guess what? I got my actual report back today, and she was only a third of the way there. According to my report here, I actually broke 3 ribs. 3 ribs. And it's been extremely painful. And sometimes it's about a half hour ago I sneezed and I thought I was going to pass out on the floor. It hurt so bad. So, there we go. I say so a lot. That's my crutch word. Anyway, that's my other one. I'm going to post some sort of video after this, since you stopped here to watch me babble about this, so you can watch me paint something. Ready? On the screen, I cooked up a witch. Yesterday, I watched Hansel and Gretel on TV. It was like a 1980s movie with David Warner. It wasn't too bad, and it inspired me to expand my horizons and do a witch. So I looked up some reference, and I came up with this. And I hope you stay till the end, because this is one of my best. And if you're here for the entertainment value alone, you'll want to stick around. But we have some witch facts that we're going to unleash on you. Cheryl, what you got?
Well, so everybody's familiar with the Salem witch trials, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but did you know that nobody in the Salem witch trials was executed by burning at the stake?
I did not know that.
I mean, most of the time you associate witches with being burned at the stake, but nobody in Salem, none of the convicted people there who got convicted of, the BS.
Of being a witch.
Yeah, of being a witch, were actually burned at the stake. They were hanged.
Oh, like that's better. Well, actually, probably
no, it's probably not. But I'm just saying, most people associate the Salem witch trials and witches in general with being burned at the stake, but nobody was burned at the stake in Salem. That was something that happened most often in Europe.
Okay, I have a good question. You are a psychology major. Your job is in psychology.
Yeah. Explain
to me how that ever happened with those little girls.
Well, that's an interesting thing, and there's a lot of theories for that. But I think, and because I'm a behavior analyst, I'm not a therapist, but what I think probably happened is they were doing it for the attention that they received, and it got out of hand.
Kind of like TikTok nowadays, eh?
Yeah, kind of.
I suppose back in those days, if they had cell phones, they would have done all this stuff on TikTok.
Right.
Okay, Hansel and Gretel. I forgot all about the storyline. It was kind of interesting. Did you know the witch lived in a gingerbread house?
Right. Yeah. It's a German fairy tale, correct?
I think so. When I looked it up, the issue is that the parents could not afford their children, so they would send them out to the woods to be killed, so the parents themselves could eat. That's the whole shtick behind that. And that was
most of those fairy tales were pretty dark.
Any more witch facts on your phone there, Cheryl?
Well, sure. So, I most people convicted of witchcraft in Europe during, say, the Inquisition were women, but there was a fair amount of women and children who were also convicted of witchcraft, during the Inquisition, which is crazy. And how about, have you ever heard of the Malleus Maleficarum?
I've heard of it. Is that a rock band?
No, that is, in fact, not a rock band. Malleus Maleficarum, loosely translated, means the hammer of the witch. And basically, it was a how-to book for how to hunt witches during the Inquisition.
It seems to me that people are very... I know that was what years was that happening in? The 1500s, 1600s? I don't know, 1800s? But even today, people will believe anything you tell them.
The witch trials that I'm talking about in Europe was the 1500s. And, basically what that came out of was people who were different, or people who just didn't fit in with the mold of the common society were accused of witchcraft.
Weren't they just scapegoats for stupid things?
Yes, and it's very similar to some of the stuff that goes on these days in politics and religion, if you ask me.
So nothing ever actually really changes.
No, except that we're not burning women at the stake anymore.
We are in a way.
We are.
Brooms, and they do it on what's that movie? Harry Potter, right?
Harry Potter, yeah.
Were they witches?
Witches and wizards.
So,
You're a wizard, Harry.
That's right. So have you found out any? I've seen you do it. I took pictures of it one time.
Yeah, but we were just dressed up.
Oh, so you're not a real witch?
No. I wish I had magical powers. I would turn a lot of people into toads.
I have magical powers. I turned this piece of paper into this picture. That's freaking magic. Because I cannot tell you how I do this. It comes out of my brain. I don't know. I think it's just a lot of practice, but I don't know how I do it. Cheryl, how do I do this stuff?
I'm not really sure. I mean, but ever since I saw Bewitched as a kid, I wanted to be one. I wanted to be a witch and be able to,
Twinkle your nose?
twinkle my nose and do stuff.
That was a pretty good. We're getting way off base here, aren't we?
We're still talking about witches.
Yeah, we talk about Hansel and Gretel. That's where this came from.
Right.
So in that movie, the father had to go out and he sold wood in the town to pay for the bread and whatnot, and the wife didn't have a job, and the wife was constantly badgering on him because he wasn't bringing enough money home. So that's the whole premise of the movie, is that they're poor, and the only way they can survive is to get rid of the children. And that was a real thing back in those days from what I read. So
a lot of those Brothers Grimm fairy tales are really, really dark.
I know. I mean, how do they consider that to be kids' stuff?
Well, I don't know that they necessarily did. It just kind of turned into that over time.
Okay. So right now we are getting into some really good color, and let me see what I'm doing here. I'm doing a little background stuff. Because I wanted to balance my greens with something, so I put a little bit of orange. I wanted to use a limited palette and not go too crazy, so I used green, I used a little bit of orange, some red for the eyes and the lips, and that's about it. I think those are, well, red and green, they're not complementary, they're opposite on the color wheel, so they stand out from each other. And now I'm putting on some warts. This is where it gets fun. This is where the painting is fun, because all my underpainting's done. I got my colors on. Now I can go over this and just put all my fun stuff on there. And I didn't talk about this before, but I did some outlining with black ink to really make the picture stand out about a few minutes ago. But here I am putting on all my warts, my final set of highlights, where it just makes this thing pop, 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 pop. It makes it pop off the page. I mean, the other pictures I had, I was going to sell for $1 million. This one's going to be $1.5 million. Now, I have PayPal. Cheryl has Venmo. So if you want to buy this painting, just send us your information, and we'll buy a frame for it. I think it's 17 by 14 inches. Is that what it was? It's mixed media paper, watercolor, and ink wash. So here I am putting on some blue in the background. This is all watercolor here. I love the look of watercolors. My original paintings on this channel were a lot of watercolors and thick acrylic paints, but I've been sticking mainly now with just watercolors. So Cheryl, but as we wrap this up, don't leave, guys. Don't leave. I'm putting my blue highlights. The blue fills in for the shadows. It's a technique that I discovered in 1875, and I was a painter. I don't know, but this makes it pop, 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 pop. This makes it worth $2 million. Okay, $2 million. You can buy this painting. Okay, tell me what you think about it. Like it and share it and hit the button and talk about it and send me money and Venmo and share anything else.
That's all I got for now.
That's all you have for now. That's great. Now I have to talk for another 30 seconds. Right now the subscribe button's coming on. Watch this. Subscribe, upper right hand corner. And when that comes on, that means you have to go hit the subscribe button. Subscribe button, subscribe button. And here we go. Thanks a lot.